then they give you 2 giant joints to connect with an Allen wrench that's this big that you've got blisters on your hand trying to turn the stupid thing. Oh, don't get me stuck. Curse you, IKEA!
First, he is a voice actor, writer, and artist whose body of work includes Mighty Megastores, The Triggets, Sad Circus by the Sea, and At Tabacat. Today, he joins us to talk about the voice of Grr. Please welcome back Rikki Simons.
Oh, hi.
Hey!
Hi, Patty.
Hey, Rikki, how you been, bro?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. So you moved the camera a little bit from last time, and so which means, of course, we have to do another session of What's on Rikki's Shelf. First thing I see is the Were-Rabbit from Curse of the Were-Rabbit, the Wallace and Gromit film.
Yes, and some chickens. He's
Oh yeah. Of course, I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of that feature too.
Oh, nice.
Yes, indeed.
One of my favorite animated movies of all time.
Well, you should certainly know, but you've worked on both sides of the animation equation, so your any recommendation from you is certainly held in high regard.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
I love all Aardman stuff. I've been a huge fan of Aardman since when I first saw
Creature Comforts.
Yeah, I think it was at a film festival, animated film festival at a college. I think it was 80. I can't remember if it was 80 or 91, 89 or 91, something like that. It was very early, long million years ago.
Not far behind you. And you got Patsy from Holy Grail there too, and then Inspector Gadget. So your taste in toys is as good as your taste in animation, sir. Thank you.
I try.
And speaking of good taste, our next guest, let's bring him out. He has been no stranger to our stages before. He, of course, is whoops, my screen went blank. Okay, hold on one second. Oh, let's just bring him out. Bring out his voice is there. Bring out Richard Horvitz.
Yeah, I'm doing this thing with Rikki Simons. He played Grr. No, on Invader Zim. Oh. Hi.
Hi.
We had a party here last night.
Yeah.
All 2 of us. Yeah. It was crazy. It was wild. I got crazy, Rikki. I got crazy.
Yeah. Are you a gnome now?
What?
Are you a gnome?
No. It was a party joke. I was wearing a lampshade, but it wasn't a very good lampshade.
I just never understood why people wear the lampshade at a party. Do they become gnomes?
Yes, I am a gnome, Rikki.
So this is what some kind of joke has gotten to now. The lampshade on the head ones.
That's as good as it gets, Patty. Welcome to the pandemic.
Which by the way, I
had Temic.
By the way, I'm enjoying your continuing work. Seeing you guys like do your little dad jokes, and it's a nice little bright spot in the day.
Thank you. Are you watching the Some Kind of Jokes?
Yes.
Yes, that you can watch on Instagram Live at Some Kind of Jokes, or on Instagram you can follow or see or subscribe on YouTube at Some Kind of Joke, or with me and Dean Cameron. Thank you, Patty.
I remember doing my job, and the fact of the matter is, yes, I legitimately enjoy it. Again, my job at Disney was like doing those jokes in the show, so I enjoy seeing guys do it much better than I did. So with that being said, gentlemen, welcome back to the GalaxyCon virtual stage. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here. We look forward to the day when the world gets a little back to normal and we can get you back on our physical stages. Oh, no, you don't. Okay,
right here. This is fine.
You like it right there.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. We'll have Richard on our stages in front of the fans, and we can pipe you in on the big giant screen, because before the pandemic, we were doing that with some of our guests. So
yeah, Richard's going to be carrying he's going to be like Tweaky and the Buck Rogers series, where he's got like a little like a monitor of me plugged into his chest.
He'll have you as Dr. Theopolis.
Yeah, he is my Dr. Theopolis.
Right.
So I am Dr. Theopolis. Yeah,
or I can be your Teletubby. It's the same thing, the same gimmick.
I love the Teletubbies.
Yeah, I like Poe.
But Teletubbies are amazing. They got this little pastoral green hillside world, but there's like a sentient vacuum cleaner, and the son is a baby.
Yeah.
My entire upbringing.
And they just have a big dome that they live in the ground. I mean, I would totally live there.
Fair, absolutely fair. So what's really our team's going through the chat room right now, pulling out the questions. While they're doing that, I don't think I've asked you this before, so I'll throw that out there. What is been the most interesting thing that an Invader Zim fan has presented you with in person?
Well,
we got a smoked salmon, homemade.
Yes, someone did give us a smoked salmon, which then Richard and I tried to pass off between each other.
Yeah, it got a little right.
The salmon,
so we kept putting it in each other's carry-on bags.
I think I got it into your suitcase in the end.
I eventually opened it up, and there it was.
Yeah, found it a couple months later.
Now, was this some canned stuff, or was this like somebody that pickled the jar themselves?
It was in like its own sealed package.
Yeah,
they had sealed it, vacuum sealed it, but it wasn't vacuumed very well. But I invited Rikki over for lunch, and he ate it. He just doesn't know it.
All right, well, pickle salmon, that's one. Any other ones come to mind?
Someone gave me a paper mache Bloaty the pig head.
And someone gave you a baby.
It was huge. It fit over my head, but it smelled terrible inside. And it eventually just rotted. I'm not sure what. I think it was made of pig.
You know what it smelled like? It smelled like if you ever had a plaster cast when you were young, like it got old, like it smelled kind of formaldehyde-y.
Yeah, it deteriorates.
Yeah.
Very Elmer Gooey also. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a great I'm not a wine drinker, but there's a thing that wine drinkers say about smell. I can't remember what it was.
Bouquet.
Thank you. It was a beautiful bouquet. Spicy.
So you put it on his way too. So, all right. So pickled salmon and giant pig, smoked salmon and pigs. Okay.
Someone gave Rikki a baby.
People always hand me their babies. They hand me their babies to sign their babies and hold their babies. And I'm 50 and I've never had a child. I don't know what they're about. I don't know. I don't remember being a baby. I don't know how to hold a baby. So they hand them to me and I'm like, by the leg.
By its neck.
I did? I did.
Yeah, by its neck.
I've got this soft spot here. And I just plug my thumb in and then roll it back and forth. Is that how you do a baby? I don't know. Don't hand me your baby. Don't ever hand me your baby.
Little baby.
No hand up, baby. All right, so salmon, pigs, and babies. All right, that's all the information I need to know. Our team's got the questions from the audience, so let's go and roll our first one. And this is going to come from Keegan, who would like to know, what inspired you when creating the unique voices for your characters?
Getting paid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, Jonan, the creator of the show, asked me to voice Gur because he said he heard something in my voice. And originally I was trying to, I just had indigestion. But originally I was trying to like come up with a voice for him. And in the end, he was just like, no, just talk, just do, you have these things that you do. You go, or whatever it was he said at the time. I can't remember. He was punching me a lot. But I forgot what I was saying. It's gone.
About the inspiration for the voice.
Turned 50. Yeah. It's gone. It's gone. It's all gone. Anyways, he just said, be yourself. And then they just pitched up a little bit. And so that's good. So
fair.
For me, I always I don't start with the voice. I always start with the story first. And then I have a saying that the voice does the work of the spirit. The spirit is the spirit of play. So like if you're playing Superman on the playground, you don't go, freeze, Lex Luthor, I'm Superman. You automatically go, freeze, Lex Luthor, I'm Superman, or something to that effect. And that's how I feel about the voices. A lot of the time, for Zim in particular, it was just kind of my voice. And then Jonan in the beginning pitched it up. And then after a while, I think he pretty much stopped pitching it, right, Rikki?
My Superman's more like, "Hello, I'm Superman. How are you?"
Oh, that's your Swedish Superman. Hello, Lex Luthor. How are you? Today, who is that kryptonite? I just like this kryptonite. Oh, I feel so weak.
You made me so weak with this kryptonite. I'm helpless.
It's so helpless. Oh, where are you, Lewis O'Laner?
Where are we going with this?
Computer learnings. Oh, hello, Jimmy. Hello, Kimmy. I like your camera.
It'd be very bad if a big, strong Lex Luthor came by any moment.
Get in here. I'm a Perry White. Listen to me, Kent. I need you to go to the crime scene and find out what happened.
That's the best Batman ever.
That's my Perry White.
Oh, I thought that was Batman.
That's the craziest Kansas farm boy accent I've ever heard. But Keegan,
The city, Kansas.
Keegan, thank you. That was a great one to start us off with. What do we have next from Bethany? What's your favorite line from the show?
Girl, why was there bacon in the soap?
That was the reply, I remember, as we rehearsed it. My favorite line was trying to remember the show. It was I was a turkey all along. Me, I was the turkey.
In the end of the Fortress movie, my favorite scene is when chaos is running rampant and Gur and I are standing in front on the street, and I go, "Look at them, Gur! Look at them all running in fear." And Gur says, "No, they're not." I said, "That's because their stupid eyeballs can't handle all this." And then Gur goes, "Ah!" and then runs around the other side and goes, "Ah!" That's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Jordan still complains about that part because he says that Gur was drawn wrong. He's supposed to look terrified. That he looks happy, and he shows me his notes and everything, and it does look better the way Jonan drew it. But I think it still works. I think it
works. It works.
Absolutely, Bethany. Thank you. That's a fun one. What do we have next? Y'all scream a lot when in character. How do you not lose your voice during the marathon of yelling?
Pacing. Yeah, pace it out.
Water, lots of hot water, and lemon for me. I don't drink tea or honey, so hot water and lemon works really well. Rikki and I lose our voice more often at conventions, or when we used to do conventions, than
because
we do the show.
It's over days, and you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're talking to a lot of people.
Yeah,
and a recording session is typically in between an hour to 4 hours, and you're not speaking the entire time. So
yeah,
and a lot of times we're not yelling as much as you think we are. We're letting the microphones do the work, and then you can just pull back on the mic.
Yeah,
I can get close to the mic and go, "Grr, why was there bacon in the soap?" As opposed to, "Grr, why was there?" Which is like really projecting it. So
yeah. Absolutely. So, Anonymous, thank you. That was a good one. What do we have next?
Thank you, Annie Mouse.
Yes, from Abby. Who is your favorite character to voice? And this can go any part of your catalog.
Sure.
Well, I guess I enjoyed. Gur was my favorite voice to do.
Yeah, Rich and I would trade.
We trade on. It's hard to choose one of them because so much of me goes into my characters. Just like when you're working on that story, I look at it as different stories, and when I'm on that playground, I love being that person. I mean, I loved Billy. I loved Zim. Daggett was great. It's hard for me to choose one of them.
But which one would you kill? Like if you were like, "Hey, Richard, you're gonna die unless you shoot one of your characters right in the face."
Gur.
Oh.
You walked in that one, Rikki. Sorry.
Rikki, what's your favorite?
To shoot?
To voice.
Oh, I mean, Gur's got a lot going for him. I do like doing Bloaty, but his there's a lot of pain in there. I was hoping that we could get more. There was actually supposed to be a lot more Bloaty in the movie, but the story got changed. And there was only one scene with Bloaty. But the thing I like about Bloaty is how versatile he is. Mostly because I have an inability to perform him adequately without coughing and choking, because and then it triggers asthma and gag reflex. So, like in the movie, Bloaty says something and I can't remember, and I had a total spasm recording it. So the animators actually just they animated my spasm, with just had Bloaty turn around and cough an entire pizza against a wall and then turn back and start speaking some more. I like him a lot just because it gives the animators something to do.
Fair, absolutely fair. Abby, thank you. Out of my curiosity, you mentioned that what was probably the biggest thing that changed from when the movie was presented to you guys in its form to what it finally ended up becoming? Was there any really big major thing that was in the works that got dropped?
There was more tack in the original.
There's a scene with tack that got removed.
The whole story, kind of a storyline that was just, we were just long. We had a long. It was originally supposed to be 44 minutes, and then Nickelodeon said, "Oh, we want it now 66 minutes," and then the movie ended up being 72 minutes. So yeah, it went all over the place. And I think the tack scene and it was supposed to be tack in the prison. I think the ship was going to rescue tack at that space prison or something like that, but it's just implied now that that's why the ship was so eager to go to the space prison to take dib there.
Okay. All right, fair, cool, thank you. And Abby, thank you again for that question. It's great. And one from Kat. What do you personally relate to the most about Zim and Gur?
I like that Gur is kind of unflappable. Like, he just doesn't get things, and is sort of immune to agony and grief, and then when it does happen, it sort of goes away instantly as soon as he's distracted.
I think the reason Rikki and I have good chemistry is because we are a lot like our characters. Rikki is a lot more gentle than I am. He's more. Rikki is just by nature. I would say optimistic, but I know him too well. I would say that he's what I call a gentle giant, whereas I happen to be, yeah. Whereas I happen to be more. I'm quick to anger, quicker, and I'm much more boisterous. Than
more of a megalomaniac who will pilot.
I'm more of a maniacal alien, and so it kind of translates into our personal relationship as well. So we both know how each other are going to respond. That's why we enjoy doing the panels so much. At the conventions, because Rikki knows what I'm going to say at any given moment, and I know what he's going to say most of the time at any given moment. So I think that our relationship kind of mirrors Zim and Gur's, and so maybe it was created for us by Jonah.
But now it's going to be you with a tablet with Rikki broadcasting from home now. So
on a stick,
it's like on a stick.
On a stick.
Yeah, that'll be my job as the host of that live. I'll be holding Ricky's stick. When he gets excited, I'll try to give him some physicality.
Make way for the Rikki stick.
Kat, thank you. That was a great one.
Thank you, Kat.
What do we have next? From Chrissy. Did you ever expect the amount of love for these characters from the fans when you first started for the role?
I didn't know what to expect. Because it was my first voiceover role.
I didn't know either, because what I did know is that we were having so much fun doing it, just with the cast, with Joan, and with the whole crew. I just think that the cast and the crew, from the writers to the animators to the colorists to everybody on the show, we were just like Kevin's music. We were just all at this pinnacle of our careers. It was just a happy blending of chemistry. So we knew that we were having fun, but we're in a dark booth recording this and laughing. We probably didn't really realize it until to be honest with you, until we got out on the road.
Yeah.
Topic took over, and all of a sudden the merchandise started selling because you couldn't tell the love by our ratings because we had lousy ratings. We had really lousy ratings, and it was just primarily because it wasn't necessarily the Nickelodeon demographic.
I kind of wish that we had started traveling around earlier than we did. I think we both started doing it together in 2010.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to conventions with Tavisha, my wife, for our art and stuff, but I never had done it for animation, for voiceover, that sort of thing, to meet fans in that capacity. And it was only when we were still continuing to go to conventions for our art that people were like, "Oh, you're also the voice of Gur," and they were going kind of crazy about that. Like, oh, but I never thought of like doing a tour type thing or it just always seemed like it was an additional thing still, not like the main thing, And then when Richard and I started doing it together, I think it was in 2010 or 2011. It was after the Invader Zim convention.
Didn't we do it before the Invader Zim convention? For InvaderCon?
I think you and I together started doing it in 2011 at the Invader Zim convention in March. I kind of wish we had done it earlier because.
Yeah, I guess it's been about 10 years we've been on the road together. I mean, one year, Rikki and I did 14 conventions together.
No, it was 18. It was 18. I counted.
18 conventions.
18 conventions in 1 year. Yeah.
We literally would go to a convention. We'd leave on a Thursday together.
Mm-hmm.
We'd come back on a Sunday night. We'd do what we had to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then that following Thursday. And many times we were crossing the country back and forth. Day after day.
Those were crazy times.
They were crazy times. It was fun. Rikki and I wrote sketches and had fun. So,
yeah,
good days. So, yeah,
see a lot of hotel lobbies.
You could put us in the middle of a city, and we would.
A lot of lunches.
The funny thing is, we were in Houston one day.
Oh yeah.
Rikki hates humidity more than any other weather phenomena.
In California, we don't have it.
In my state.
Humidity. You can't stand it. So I say, come on, Rikki, let's go explore the city. So we're in downtown Houston, and we cannot figure our way back. We are so lost in the hotel. And wait, I remember. I smelled beef on that street, and then we go right on pork, and then we go straight to Brighton.
Yeah, just follow the barbecues. It worked. We found our way back.
I'll remember that next time I'm in Houston. That's a very good way of doing it. Chrissy, thank you. That was fun. What else from Leandra? If you guys could act out one of the comics, which one would you pick?
Oh boy, I can't remember. Well, I co-wrote a couple of them. I co-wrote one that's sort of a Dungeons and Dragons style episode. I think it was episode number 40 or 41. So I like that one. But I can't remember which issue it is. It might be 5 or 6. But there's a particular scene where Gur is in a virtual reality simulation, and he's like on a trampoline with a sentient donut and a sentient the donut and a hot dog or something like that. And Zim comes in. It's like the holodeck in the Enterprise. And Zim comes and goes, "Shut this down! Get out here!" He's like, "Okay." And he turns to the sentient creatures he's created in this holographic world and says, "Goodbye for everybody, and forever, everybody. I'm gonna shut you down forever." And they're all like, "No!" And then he kills them. He shuts down the room. Everything goes dark. He goes, "No!" and walks away.
If I could act out any of the comics, it would probably be The Far Side by Gary Larson.
Oh yeah, the kid that tries to push in when he should pull.
Yes, or
Midville School of the Gifted.
My favorite one is there's a father and a son, and it says father and son, and then he goes, "Well, I guess we don't have to fix the sign." And you look over, and there's an S that's fallen off, and there's a body underneath. So just a father and son.
I like the boneless chicken ranch.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Pow tools always makes me laugh.
Yes.
Because it's so esoteric. And he has said before, he's like, he got more letters on that one asking people to explain it. It's like, there is no explanation. You put it together yourself. You know, so. Yes. Leandra, thank you.
It's like furniture from IKEA. There's no explanation. There's just pictures.
And I learned the hard way. It's like before you follow the instructions, look to see how it'll fit in, and then the instructions after that.
And then they give you, two giant joints to connect with an Allen wrench that's this big that you've got blisters on your hand trying to turn the stupid thing. Oh, don't get me stuck. Curse you, IKEA!
Curse you, IKEA, and thank you, Leandra. What do we have next? From Bethany. Do any of you have a favorite video game?
Well, right now I'm still. Oh, geez. I mean, I've been playing Animal Crossing, so I'm excited about. I mean, I played both Pocket Camp and New Horizons, so I'm excited about this. But those, I mean, Pocket Camp's not really a video game; it's more of like a relaxation thing. But I just played. Darn it! What was the name of it? It was these sad little guys in a boat, and they did stuff. It was a puzzle game. It was on the Switch. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh my gosh. I can't remember it. It's good though.
If anybody in our chat room knows it, Christina, roll that at the bottom.
For me, I like platform games. I always did. So my favorite ones when I started playing with my son when he was little was I love the Ratchet and Clank series. I love the first Jak and Daxter. I love the Crash Bandicoot. And I play mostly now just little mobile app games like I play Blocku Doku, where it's like Tetris, only it's with blocks and you can't move the shapes around. I play Wordscapes. I like games that keep my mind agile as I get older. So I'm thinking if I can still think doing these things, I'll be like, what? What did you say? Where are we? Who are you people?
Richard, it's your turn. Roll the dice.
If you're talking about like favorite games of all time, though, I still play Guild Wars 2 with my friends. Final Fantasy 11 is still a big favorite. I like MMOs. But I think my favoriteest game of all time, just because it was so beautiful and ambient, was Eco. Yeah, some games are nice.
I like, I'm just like, I think I'm a little biased in that I like Skylanders, despite the fact that I was in it. I like the gameplay. And Psychonauts, I loved. I was just blown away by Psychonauts, even though I'm in it and Psychonauts 2 is coming out, which I'm so excited about. You're going to love it. Mm-hmm. I'm just a huge fan of Tim Schafer's. His mind is just, I'm lucky that the creators that I've gotten to work with have just like these really vivid imaginations. Jonan, Tim Schafer, Maxwell Adams, Mitch Shower, Rikki Simons. Satan.
Not today, Satan. But Bethany, thank you for that one. From Rick, what do you suggest for someone who wants to get started in voice work? Take Richard's online class.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
But if you have no experience whatsoever, I always suggest people take I know they're teaching them online now. Improv and sketch comedy are like the greatest training grounds, in my opinion, because it reminds you what it was to play with an active imagination at that moment, as opposed to planning things out. And I'm not a big fan of method acting and Meisner, and it's great for people who believe in it. For me, we just play pretend. In animation, I would study with someone who is reputable. I know there's a lot of people that teach online classes. People who actually work in the industry or have worked in the industry are the people that I recommend highly. And you can just do a Google search and then look those teachers up.
And again, you do online courses yourself, correct?
Mm-hmm. If you're interested in those, you can send an email to Richard Horvitz, Horvitz classes, CLASSES @gmail.com. Richard Horvitz classes @gmail.com.
That's where I send everybody. Anytime anybody asks me, how do you get a voice actor? I go to Richard.
Well, let me ask this question then, Richard.
My back.
Can you give us a little bit of your methodology? I mean, do you teach like raw beginner classes, or do you have like stages?
Yeah, I don't believe in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I believe that anybody is capable of playing pretend. We do it all the time. So my workshop focuses on what I call the art of playing pretend, and I teach something called the 5 steps, designed to remind us of what it was when we used to play pretend as children. For example, I think I've done this with you, Patty, but I'll give you an example. So, Patty, the difference between people who like study some sort of like acting versus just pure play pretend. So give me an example of a make-believe game you played as a child. It can be Power Rangers, $6 Million Man, I think we talked about. You name something that you played make-believe with your friends.
Batman, inspired by the Adam West, by the Adam West series.
Good. So you're Batman, or are you Robin? Who are you in the story?
Oh, I'm always Batman.
Good. So give me an example of something you said to your friends as Batman. Just anything. Make anything up.
I'm gonna whap him with my batarang.
Good. I'm gonna whap him with my batarang, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of that play pretend time, your mom or dad would come out and say, "Okay, Patty, your friends have to go home. It's time to come in and clean up." At the end of that play pretend time, did you ever say to your friends, "Now let me ask you something. Did you believe the character of Batman when he said, 'I'm going to whap you with this batarang'? Or do you think he should have said, 'I'm going to whap you with a..." You didn't do it. You didn't worry about it. No. But somehow we lose that spirit of playing pretend because we think that our job is to book the job, because we spend more time. Ooh, my light just went down. Oh. The sun just, don't let the spotlight go down on me.
It was agreeing with you.
It's not good. Yeah. So
trying to nod.
We spend like 98% of our time auditioning and only getting to do it about 2% of the time. Yeah. And so it's really hard to remember that our job is to play pretend, because I know that people spend all their time trying to get the agents and get the opportunities. And when they get the opportunities, they freak out because they haven't been practicing what it is we do, because now I get the chance. And so I practice playing pretend on a daily basis. That's what I do. I enter secondary realities on a daily basis, and it's all about the imagination. That's a little bit about what I teach.
That's a wonderful place to come from. And again, I know there are other people that teach, and they do have a little more of a structured, but I really like that philosophy. Yeah,
I definitely have a structure. There's definitely 5 specific steps, and each one of the steps is a lesson within itself. And my 5 steps are: I am a willingness to play pretend / enter a secondary reality. 3, have fun. 4, what do I want? And 5, be specific. Each one of those have their own lessons and exercises that I teach.
Outstanding. So one more time for our audience, where the email you at?
Richard Horvitz classes, plural, @gmail.com.
Outstanding. So, and Rick, thank you. That was a great one. And that usually comes up a lot, and that's one of the better answers we got for it. Thank you, gentlemen. And what do we have next? From Yuki. How did you feel about coming back to Invader Zim for the movie?
Like this. I was excited about it. I knew that it was coming back for quite a while before Richard did. Because Jonan had been working on the deal for it and the script for it for a very long time, and there was a lot of times it looked like it wasn't going to happen. So he told me about it, but he asked me not to tell Richard yet because he didn't want to disappoint Richard. But I finally cracked and told him at one point before Jonan wanted me to tell him, because it sounded like it was finally progressing well. So I told Richard, and then Richard didn't believe me. So.
There have been so many rumors for so long that and one day I got a call from Jonah, and he was driving back from, I don't know, New Mexico or somewhere. He likes to drive like on long trips, and he had gotten the idea for the movie, what he wanted to do, and he starts telling me about it. And as he starts to tell you his story, it's like what I was just talking about. He's seeing it in his mind, and he's really excited about it. And when I hear him excited about something he's imagining, then I know, oh wait, this is something he's really been thinking about. But as far as coming back to do Invader Zim, Rikki will attest to this. I was anxious about coming back to do Zim again because it had been so long. My voice had gotten a lot more raspy, a lot more
husky,
husky-ish.
like a husky dog.
And I kept saying over and over again as we were recording, "You sure it sounds the same? You sure it sounds the same?" And Rikki would say yes, and Jonah would say yes, and Melissa would say yes, and Andy would say yes, and I would go, "You sure?" They're like, "Shut up!" So I was a little anxious about it because one of the things is that when we were doing it the first time, we didn't know what the fan base would respond to. And now that you know what the fans really responded to, you feel more of an obligation. It's hard to take that out of the equation, which, as I said, makes it a little bit harder to stay in the secondary reality of the play of the world we're in, because you're thinking, oh, if you think of the movie, I don't say, "I am Zim," which I say all the time in the series. I didn't really say it in the movie.
Yeah, there's certainly new challenges in the movie.
Yeah. I rarely did that. I rarely did that in the movie. And that was Jonan's plan. He wanted it to be not an homage to the past.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be.
There's no doom. No one says doom in it.
There's no doom.
There's no pig.
No pig. There is Minnie Moose. There's more Minnie Moose than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it must have been a relief to finally give people an answer to the eternal question. So is the show coming back? And you can finally say, yes, Netflix.
It's funny because it's just the story of this show's life. It came back. It did really well on Netflix. It trended for a very long time. And then it just disappeared into the ethernet. And then the pandemic hit, and I texted Rikki not long ago and said, "Well, I guess that's it.
Yes, we're done. In 20 years." It's like Twin Peaks. See you in 20 years. Go back to the red room. Yeah.
And there's always music in the air.
It's just amazing that the zeitgeist of animation, because everything is coming back. Rocco came back, and then we came back, and now Rugrats is back, and Animaniacs is back, and it's all from that same period of time. It's that same 90s generation.
Yeah, they're all in there. They're all in their nostalgia zone.
Yeah. Which is great because a lot of the people that hire Rikki and I grew up on our shows. So now they're in positions where they go, "Oh my gosh, I can have Zim or Gur."
When we were kids, the things didn't come back. They just sort of, they just replayed them.
Yeah.
So, you would get like the Honeymooners on TV and the Three Stooges and
I love
Bob Hope movies and all these things. And cartoons from the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Looney Tunes.
But they were just reruns. They weren't like remakes of things. Now, so our parents' generation continued on, and so now our generation's stuff is continuing on, but it's being remade.
I think it's really hard to piggyback off of what Rikki is saying. I think it's really hard to have a long-running successful show because there's so much content. I am just inundated with apps on my Roku or my Apple TV. I mean, I could have Pluto, I can have Apple Plus, I can have Disney Plus, and it's just like, oh, you got to watch this show, you got to watch this show. It's really hard for a show to bust out of that. And one of the things is I've had a lot of meetings with Netflix because I've sold shows before and I pitch them all the time. And one of the things that is said all the time is, and this is one of the reasons why I think it's hard to have a long-lasting show in this format, is because they want to know your entire story arc when you pitch it from season 1 to season 3.
Oh, wow.
And if you ever wondered why some shows only do 3, maybe 4 seasons, it's because of binge watching. They know that if someone it comes to a show they haven't watched and they have to binge more than 3 seasons, they're not going to watch it. And I came to Schitt's Creek late. And as much as I love Schitt's Creek, I'm just now getting through the 2nd season and I still have 3 more to go. And I'm like, oh, I want to catch up to the end so that I can catch up. So my want is not to sit and enjoy the show; it's to catch up.
Yeah.
And Netflix never expected that. When they ran House of Cards, which kind of set it up, they really thought people would just do 1 or 2 episodes every couple of weeks. And when the numbers started coming back that people were binge watching a whole season in 3 days, they were gobsmacked.
Yeah,
they had to change. They had to change their whole formula into that. So
it's not like the days of like when like a show like Lost was really big, where they had no idea what they were going to write next and what they were, they would just sell the show.
They obviously didn't know how they were going to end that show either.
They would just sell the show, and then they're like, "Oh, we sold the show. We better write some stuff."
Someone like JJ.
Yuki, thank you. That was a fun one. And a reminder to our audience, if you'd like to chat with our guests like I am now or get a personalized autograph photo, please sign up at GalaxyCon.com. And we have time for a few more. So, Christina, roll another one. From One Saturday Morn. Would you ever do a live reading of the comics?
I would like that would be fun. We did live readings of the scripts at conventions for the TV show. The comics, the comics are all supervised by Jonan, and so they're his stamp of approval, and a lot of them are written by Eric Trueheart, who was one of the main writers on Invader Zim, they're great. Most of them would have been great TV episodes, I think.
Yeah, I would prefer to do a live reading into a microphone that they recorded and then later animated and then put it in on TV. That would be my preference.
And then you get paid scale for that. Double scale, sorry.
Something to be said about that, absolutely. Thank you, One Saturday Morn. What do we have next? From Roxy. Oh, she wants to know what they think of people getting tattoos of their characters.
Looks painful.
I wonder if Roxy has one.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered that people would do that. We don't want to sign them when they do that. Rikki
we do though when they ask.
Yeah.
We just always ask them, don't get serial killed because then they'll think we're signing our work. So
yeah. So that's why we don't like signing our autographs on people's flesh that they can tattoo.
It's not
we're not fans of that. But I think it's very flattering when people do that. We've seen people do full legs and full sleeves of the house with Zim and Gur and the gnomes and the everything. And that's wow, that is commitment. That's flattering. We met one guy, Rikki and I did at LA Comic-Con, who goes, "Hey, look what I got." And do you remember this, Rikki?
Yes, I will never forget that. I know what you're going to say.
He pulled his lip down and he had Zim tattooed on
carved
on the inside of the knife.
Oh wow, scarification. Wow.
It was done by Rikki, but still.
I'll do this for you.
He's like, "Hold him, Richard, hold him." He used a chisel. Ching, 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 ching. Ching, 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 ching. Ching, ching, ching.
Which episode's your favorite? He wasn't even a Zim fan. He was a Rugrats fan. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's true. That I've seen some beautiful artwork on tattoos that I'd just love to see that unrolled as a print of some kind.
I like drawings. I like art. I just don't know if I would want the same drawing on me all the time. I'd like to look at it different. I would be okay with a tattoo on my own self if it would be programmable. I'd be like, today, butterflies. Boop. Great. But if I wake up every day and it's oh, got those butterflies still, huh?
Yeah.
I think that the coloring of Invader Zim was so amazing, and Rikki was responsible for a good part of that. It was really unique colors. It wasn't just green. It was a specific green. It wasn't just blue. It was a specific blue. It was just really, the palette was like you have on this palette right here on our thing right here, but just a little bit tweaked.
Palette.
I love that palette. And whenever I see a tattoo that can capture that kind of color, because like Rikki will tell you, they put a lot of time in choosing the right colors for things on the show. So when they can do that in a tattoo, I'm pretty impressed by that.
Absolutely. Yeah, probably what everybody. Thank you, Roxy. And I think we have time for one more, so I'll ask pull a really good one for us from Blake. If your character had a Twitter, what would their bio say?
Alien Invader here to destroy you.
How ironic! Very funny! Yeah.
Since it's Gur, I'd have to wonder if he would know the purpose of Twitter, and
yeah, he'd say, "I love Facebook."
Like like if he actually had to write something, he'd probably just write like, do this smell or something. I don't know.
Your Rikki Gur's bio would be like, "Come on, pig, let's go to my room."
Yeah, but
that's my favorite line. One of my favorite moments ever is when you walk in and go, "Come on, pig, you have a pizza. Come on, pig, let's go to my room."
Gur would somehow.
Let's go to my room, pig.
Yeah, let's go to my room, pig.
There used to be a Gur. There was a Gur. The only one of the Gur toys. The only Gur toy that has my voice in it. It was this little thing you're supposed to put on the dash of your car, and it had different voices it would do. And one of them was, "Let's go to my room, pig." And I told my wife, "Geez, I hope I don't get pulled over." This thing goes off.
You got pulled over, and you go to their room.